There was a lot of sadness. What was deemed normal medical practice was horrendous.
There are some legends about this place. There's something dark. Some people say something demonic in here.
I get past the stairs and I get palpitations and I can't breathe properly. He's holding those 5 men spirits down there.
Does that upset you?
If you want Dave out of your cell, push something over. Get as close as you can. Are you shitting me?
I don't... Hello. Whoa, whoa.
Who was that?
How did that just die, though?
I don't know.
Treatments include antipsychotic drugs and electroconvulsive therapy.
What the f*** was that?
Criminally insane means a prisoner who has become mentally ill whilst in the prison system. We have men here who have murdered on the basis of serious mental illness and will kill again.
All right, Ryan, we are here in Ararat, Victoria.
Yeah, it was just a couple of nights ago that we investigated the Airedale Lunatic Asylum, and tonight we are going to investigate a building that was actually repurposed from a jail into a separate ward for the criminally insane. Those that were considered too dangerous to be housed in the Airedale Lunatic Asylum were sent here to be housed in more of prison-like conditions. And they say the spirits of some of those men might still be here to this day.
That's right, we're here at J Ward.
J Ward is quite an interesting beast. It has a long history. It has a lot of stories. And our friends Alison and Kag from Adelaide's Haunted Horizons and Amy and Jared from Amy's Crypt say that this is one of their favorite places to investigate in Australia.
You ready to get inside and get some more information, some more history, some more creepy stories?
Let's do it. Let's go inside and find out what happened here.
Let's go.
Okay, this building, the cell block was built. It's called the Ararat County Jail, and it was built in 1859. Ararat County Jail was built because we had a gold rush in Victoria, and we had 50,000 people come and live in Ararat, in Tent City, we called it. And with that, there was lots and lots of crime. So they decided to build a jail to house the criminals that were arrested. During the jail days here, we had 3 executions, we had 3 hangings. The first one was Andrew Varr, the second one was Robert Francis Burns, and we think he's our first mass murderer. And he was hung here, and the night before his hanging, the priest went in to see him. And he said to the priest, "I've been a bad man all my life. I've killed many a man along the river, and now I have to go meet my maker." The priest told the governor, and the governor informed the police, and they did an investigation. And they found 8 bodies in shallow graves along the Victorian border, 2 in New South Wales and 3 in South Australia. And they accredited all those murders to him. Now the last one was Henry Morgan. Now he came over as a 17-year-old from Tasmania, and he had a magnificent dig, made a fortune, and he moved to Warrnambool. There he met his lovely girl and he married her. 20 years of marriage he had, 15 children. Not enough for him, he wanted more. He fell in love and was besotted with a girl that used to come in from a farm, and she used to sell her eggs and milk in town and then go home. And he came out of the pub one day, he spotted the young lady walking home, and he got on his horse, he rode up to her, he took her to the outskirts of Warrnambool. There he had his way with her, and then he murdered her with a penknife. Now, the day of his hanging, people came in here, 30 of them came in and stood and watched him be hanged. Once the trapdoor fell and he fell and his neck snapped, they all clapped and cheered. "Hooray," they yelled, "hooray, that bastard's dead." Because Margaret Nolan was 10 years old. So he was hung here for that.
Hey PQ fam, Amy and Jared here from Amy's Crypt. We're going to be giving you a tour around J Ward. Tonight, Paranormal Quest, I think you're in for a big treat with this one. We're going to kick things off by taking you probably to the darkest, scariest place here. This one freaks me out, and I know that Jared's terrified of it.
This place, just to look at it will give you the creeps.
I know there has been a death right where Dave is standing on these stairs here.
Oh.
So one of the final governors of the jail here actually had a heart attack and passed away here. Some people say that his spirit lingers, but they do say there's another spirit that's a bit darker here that lingers in the room behind you guys, and that one looks like right out of a Saw movie, this room.
Yeah, this is the
No
underground.
joke.
This is the underground bathroom.
My goodness. What the hell is this?
So you're probably wondering why there is a bathroom underground like this, and I am too. Sorry, Amy. What was the story behind the bathrooms?
Down in the old kitchen, you go through a door and you can go into an old bathroom, which was the governor's bathroom, because none of the bluestone buildings had any running water, gas, electricity, heating or anything in the jail days. So the governor would go down and have a bath once a week down in that little bathroom.
There are some legends about this place. There's something, dark. Some people say something demonic in here. A spirit nicknamed the Butcher.
He went out to get some lambs and left his wife and girls at home, and when he got home, his wife and girls had been and murdered by a gang of 5 people that had come into town. So the police managed to get them and arrest them. He went to the governor after a few months and said, look, I can help the cooks cut the meat up, so they've just got to cook it. And he said, oh, that's great. He said, but I need someone to help me. Oh, just pick a prisoner, they'll help. So he did. A couple of days later, he went back to the governor. I'm really sorry, but I can't find him anywhere. He's buggered off. And he said, well, just pick another one. So he did. And he picked another one. And he did. And that went on 5 times. And then one of the guards realised there were some prisoners missing. They found that the 5 men who had killed the butcher's wife and children had all disappeared. And he was taking them into the kitchen and killing them and chopping them up and sending their meat into the kitchen to be cooked for the prisoners to eat.
This is all unsubstantiated history, so it's sort of become folklore, but whether there's any sort of relevance to it is hard to say. But there are rumours that people were killed in this room, prisoners. And last time I investigated here, actually I spent a bit of alone time in here, and it genuinely freaking creeped me out.
He's holding those 5 men's spirits down there. And I've been a J Ward representative here for 8 years, and I have never gone into that bathroom. I get past the stairs and I get palpitations and I can't breathe properly. And as an asthmatic, that's a problem for me. And I've never gone in it. And I do day tours, I do ghost tours, and I do paranormal here, and I still don't go into that bathroom. So it started out as a jail. It lasted for about 25 years because the gold ran out and people moved away. So it closed in 1886 and it reopened in 1887 to house the criminally insane from Ararat, which is the big lunacy department that was built in Ararat. And they had nowhere to house these criminally insane men who were quite a danger to the people up there. So the government reopened this in 1887 and it became known as the J Ward.
So this is kind of where they had spill-off of the very violent, dangerous people that weren't integrating with the population over at Ararat, right? They brought them here into the cell block. There are other areas of the psychiatric hospital, but this was, the original jail down here.
So basically you're talking about people that are dealing with very severe mental illnesses, people that need mental health treatment, but they were treated as though they were inmates, being locked in cells and only having certain recreation time and moving almost like prisoners throughout this building.
And I have been told by one of the nurses that used to work here that if anyone played up and they took more than 2 nurses to calm them down and they had to go and get a needle for them to give them an injection, as the nurses came back with the needle, they would bang it on the wall as they went past to make the needle blunt, just to remind them not to carry on again, otherwise they'll get it again with a blunt needle.
This right here was George. Here you go, Dave. This is going to be what we were talking about earlier. We read about this guy.
George was approached in a park by a man and asked if he'd like to come into the toilet with him. And George sort of stepped back and said, well, look, I'll come back at 8 o'clock at night. So he did. And when he walked in, he killed the man and he cut his penis off and put it in the ladies' toilets. And then he stood outside the toilets waiting for the police to come and arrest him. So George was very homophobic. And of course they charged him with the murder and they sent him in here because of his mental issues. And of course, can you imagine him being in here with the boys once they knew he was homophobic? You know, they'd be going, here you go, George, you know, how'd you like a bit? And he was always fighting. So they removed his 4 teeth at the front to stop him from biting people. When they went outside in the garden, he was always put behind a certain fence to keep him away from all the other men, because he had a big list of the inmates that he was going to kill and also the staff that he was going to kill. And he almost killed a man in here, but the staff grabbed him very quickly and stopped it.
And how are you today, George?
I'm not happy, Mr. Michael.
Why is that?
Mr. Michael, the doctor, the one who sat under the near the tree with you, he punished me years ago on the needles and on the tablets. Beside him, the patients, they're all my enemies. They fight me every day.
And any sort of advances or any sort of inclination that other inmates or other patients were making advances on him, he would become very violent and confrontational. And he even lost his eye in a fight with one of the other patients. So, and apparently this was his cell, and I guess he died here.
Okay, so this here is West Wing, and Jared and I didn't get as much of an opportunity to investigate here, but I definitely think this is a place to check out. So a couple of spirits here. One is a matron, still making the rounds. And then I've also heard about a man who sort of appears in here, but no one actually knows who he is. He's a bit mysterious. But this would be a place for very visual sort of sightings.
We've had the longest incarcerated man in the world here, and his name was Charles Fossard, and he used to see a cloud come down from the sky with a mule on it, and that mule's name was Lazarus, and Lazarus told him every day to kill. So he ended up going next door to the neighbour, and he killed the neighbour and walked away with his gumboots. And when the police were informed that there was a body and they investigated, they found that Charles had the gumboots and he was wearing them around town. And when the judge asked him why he did it, he just said, well, the cloud comes down and Lazarus tells me I have to kill, so I did. So he sent him here at the governor's pleasure, which meant that he couldn't stand trial because of his mental issues. So he was here for 71 years incarcerated, which is a very long time to be locked up.
Step up. Welcome to the shower block. This has been here for quite some time. The nurses used to control the temperature of the water, and then they'd take the handle off so none of the other patients could accidentally scald themselves or anything like that. At one point they only got bathed about once a month or so. So in here, we've come in with different groups over the years, but one particular night we were running a spirit box. We had it sitting over there, and we were also on the edge of the bathtub. We had a very clear, we asked, who's here? They come up with Mike, very clearly, and then followed by and then it went really, really quiet. It was like whatever's manipulating it was unaware how it worked. And then when realised that we could hear, it was a complete surprise to us all. It can be very active.
I know you've been coming here for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Do you believe that J Ward has spirits that stick around here? And if so, why do you think they stay here?
It's a lot of history on site as both a jail and as an asylum. There was a lot of sadness, a lot of what was deemed normal medical practice was horrendous. And there's a lot of residual left over. There's a lot of replaying of that fear, I feel. But then you get these intelligent responses as well. And I feel a lot of them have been institutionalised most of their life, that they considered this home. So, yeah, Some of them I feel they're happy for us to be here, others not so much.
Gary Webb, he was made a ward of the state and he was put in foster homes. And he ran wild until he was 17 and he went down to Rye, which is a town in Melbourne. And he held up a lady and asked her to, give me all your money. And she said no. And so he shot her. They arrested him and he went to the magistrates and they sent him to Pentridge. And he was there and he saw, he chatted with a fellow called Chopper Reed. Chopper's renowned for having his ears removed when he was in Pentridge, so he was a bit of a crazy guy anyway. But he was like a big bikey guy that was always notorious man. And he said to him one day, I can't stand it in here, I have to get out, what can I do? And so Chopper said to him, harm yourself and you'll end up in hospital and then you can break free from there. So Gary started to self-mutilate. 74 parts of his body he cut off, including his penis, by half 3 times. Then he wrote a letter to the government and he said, I'm a man, I need to stand when I urinate, you have to help. So they sent nurses up here with catheters to show him how to stand and urinate. Well, he was over the moon, not because the nurses came, but because the government paid attention to him. So he sent another letter, when I get out of here, I'm going to poison all of Melbourne's water and you're going to die. Next letter, when I get out of here, I'm going to get a plane and fly into the tallest building in Melbourne, I'm going to kill everyone in that building. So I thought, well, good job he's up at J Ward. The next one came. When I get out of here, I'm going to make Hoddle Street look like a picnic in the park. So they really started to panic then, thinking, oh my God, what's he going to do if he gets out? So that was it. They went to court and they made a new act. And the act was a Citizens Protection Act. And they put it on Gary's head. And that meant that he would never get parole and he would never, ever be released. So he had to stay here.
All right. This place is incredible. Amy and Jared gave us a really good idea of where we should investigate here tonight. Sandra gave us an amazing idea of the history of this place. And I'm excited to tackle this. Jail, asylum, whatever you want to call it. Are you ready, Dave?
I'm more than ready.
Let's tackle J Ward and see what this place has in store. To see if there's any people, patients, that may still haunt this really creepy place.
Let's do it, let's knock it out.
Rolling, this is the Estus session down in the basement. That was me. Of J Ward. We are in the basement dungeon bathroom. Going to be trying to communicate with the butcher. You're the one that wanted to get in here, man.
I know, but if there's a damn huntsman in here,
you won't even see it.
It'll bite me.
No, it won't. Okay, blindfold.
Could you set these on the stairs for me?
Yeah. All right, so I'm officially down in the basement of J Ward. I'm down in the kitchen, Dave is over in the bathroom. That bathroom has reports of people saying that they felt a malicious entity choking them, squeezing their throat. So a lot of strange activity in and amongst this area, so. I'm here to talk with the butcher. If the butcher is here, in that bathtub, my friend Dave is sitting with a box that he can use to speak to you. Can you walk up to him? Form. It just said form. You can use this box in my hand too to try and speak to me. Are you trying to form?
Wanted. Casket. Basement.
It just said wanted. Casket. Wagon. Wanted casket basement. Is this the butcher? Are you trying to get rid of the men that you are killing? There was a story of a man who butchered people who hurt his family. Are you trying to get rid of the bodies of the men who hurt your family? Back here behind me in this room, there's a light. Can you touch that or knock it over? So that I know that you're here with me. If the butcher is here, I'm so sorry about what happened to your family. Are you the same person that likes to hurt people down here, scratch them, attack them, choke them? Were you an inmate here at J Ward, or were you an inmate of the jail? Dude. Hello? Thank you. Can you touch that again for me? Thank you. I'm gonna come in that room, okay? Are you in here? Who's in here with me? Can you use this box to speak? Wow. Knock it off the shelf if you can.
So far, I haven't heard a single thing come through.
Can you go into the bathroom and speak to Dave? Do you need a wagon or a casket to get the bodies out of the basements? To get the bodies out of the basement? Do you need caskets and a wagon? Or are you just going to butcher them up like a piece of meat and send them off to be eaten? Is this the butcher? Light it up more if this is the butcher. Was this where you did the butchering? Do you want me to back out of here? Do you want me to leave? Oh, it's up to yellow now. Wow. Oh, shit, it's getting ready to hit. Keep going. Get as close as you can. Are you shitting me? Who is this? Do you like the lights? What the f***? Do you like the lights? Wow. I'm going to slowly back out of the room here. I want you to see this. Dave.
Yeah?
Bring those headphones and come here out of the tub and stand in this other room.
Okay, hold on.
The Mel meter was just going absolutely bonkers.
I told you.
Yeah. It was spiking for like 2 to 3 minutes straight all the way up to, and it started by just going to green and then it went all the way to red and kept going to red and red and red every time I started talking about the butcher.
Really?
Yeah. In that room with the Mel. Watch the cat ball in the middle of the floor.
Okay. I had not a single anything has come through this, by the way. Yeah, I guess I'll just stand right here.
Let me bring this up.
Where do you want me at?
Huh?
Where do you want me at? Like right here?
Yeah, that works.
Or over here?
Probably right there. What the
Did that just die?
Hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up. It did just die.
That was fully charged.
It had hours of battery left, and this just died. At what point did it just die? Hold on.
How did that just die, though?
I don't know. It still had hours of battery left when I set it down. We've only been recording for, what, this one says 18 minutes on this clip.
Hold up, whoa.
What? Did something else just die?
Literally, you can see it on camera. This just stopped itself. The spirit.
Did you just hear that voice?
This literally just stopped itself.
I heard it. What? Hold on, let me turn this off. Let me get this camera rolling. Where's that battery?
In my hand here.
Okay. So literally the battery died, and then the spirit box stopped recording, or the recorder just stopped.
Yeah, just
Here, let me
stopped.
see.
19 minutes, 8 seconds.
That's bizarre, because you would have had to have pushed the front button.
As far as I know, I didn't press it because I was holding it like this.
Yeah. We'll be able to see on this camera for sure. You were right on camera, so we can cross-reference and just to make sure. And if you did happen to bump it, we can debunk it. But if it did just stop itself from recording... Actually, do you want to run this camera and I'll listen in there?
Yeah.
Because it was like going nuts when I went in there.
Okay. 21 minutes left here and 2 hours, 56 minutes left there just to document. You guys, this is one of our big batteries. You guys, this is one of our big batteries.
Okay.
Same as the one that's on there. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stand in here.
Okay.
Hold on, let me get my spot here.
Guys, so far this is crazy.
Ooh, I just heard a voice for the first time. Sounded like a little kid said, "Mommy."
Is there a little kid down here with us? If there is, go touch that green light right there on the shelf behind my friend Ryan. You can make it light up really awesome colors, really pretty colors. Can you try that for me? Or there's even a music maker right here, look. If you stand in that doorway there, it'll make music for you. So if you want to try that, go for it.
4.
Do you know the butcher? There was a man here who killed 5 prisoners because of what they did to his family. If the butcher is here, please let me know. I want to talk to you.
That was him or that was me?
Butcher. I wish I knew your real name. Can you tell me your real name? Can you tell Ryan what your real name is?
Run?
I'm not running. I don't play that game. If you want to try and scare me, make one of these devices go off. How long were you in here? How many people did you...
Bath.
How many people did you kill in here?
Hair's standing up on my left arm like there's someone here. I feel like there's someone behind me right now. Just very creepy.
Butcher, are you in that room? Are you standing in there with Ryan? If you're in there with him.
Someone whispered, "Hey."
If you're in there with Ryan, turn on that green light again. We just want to know who we're talking to. Are you an inmate? A patient?
I'm gonna walk back to the bathroom.
Okay.
And see what I get. Is anything happening out here?
Not a single thing.
Really?
Yep. Other than I had to go get another new battery.
Really?
For this camera, yeah.
The Mel meter hasn't gone off at all?
Nope.
That is so weird because it was going nuts.
Yeah, it hasn't gone off once.
The fact that it hasn't gone off at all speaks volumes about what happened beforehand. Are any of the words relevant to anything?
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Governor, are you in the bathroom? Is the butcher down here with us? Come through the radio and talk to Ryan. Tell him what your name is, please. We want to know who we're talking to. There's a device on the bottom of the steps here. It's red. Can you try and pick it up?
That's so weird. I walk back here and all the voices stop.
Yeah, everything has gone quiet.
Yeah. It was very weird that I was getting responses through what seemed to be like the obelisks. Not responses, but like relevant words coming through. And then all of a sudden, the Mel meter started going nuts in that room.
Mm-hmm.
So we started to move everything to that room. And as we're moving the camera and stuff to that room, that camera dies unexplainably when it had hours of battery left. Man, I could stay down here for hours, but we got so much of this asylum left to go and investigate.
Yes.
You want to go check it out?
Already.
All right, so we are here in the shower house, the shower block as it's called. They bring the inmates in here, usually 4 at a time to shower. This is an area where Jenny brought us earlier, and she told us that she had interesting equipment interaction and has had some interesting experiences in here. So we have the REM pod over here, the paranormal music box over here, the obelisk set up right here in front of the camera. So if anything happens inside the shower block here, anything audible, anything visually, we'll pick it up on camera, or the equipment will interact. This is our abandonment, and we're gonna do the shower block for our abandonment. So let's...
That was weird.
Huh.
The door just pulled shut.
Yeah. Say it could be the wind. How about that?
Sure.
The door does go outside, so we'll say it must be the wind. It's those crazy Aussie storm winds kicking up. But we're going to leave this alone. We're going to go investigate in the West Wing, which is a completely separate building. So let's do it.
Let's go.
Did it roll? Hello? Okay, so we are now inside the West Wing. We just got everything set up, and as we were getting things set up, the Mel meter over there in the middle of the floor, in the middle of the hallway, started to go off. Not quite sure how or why or what really caused it to go off. This is an area that they built on specifically for J Ward, for the criminally insane, as they called them.
Do you like that little green noisemaker that we have there? Right in the middle of the floor, you were just making it go off. Can you try and reach out and touch that again? I'd like to hear it. Did you get that?
The flux just lit up. Do you see that?
Dude, something would have to be standing in that doorway to make that go off.
Right. Or they would have had to have just walked out of that doorway.
Right.
You see how when you get close to that, it lights up? Can you move down closer to us?
Can you try standing beside that blinking thing again?
Tired. Gone.
You're gone?
You're tired?
It is late. It's after midnight, huh?
Can you stand in this doorway for me? You might get to hear the music play. Bet you being locked up in here, you didn't get to listen to very much music. Or maybe you did. Maybe you did. If you get close to me, you might be able to use this box to speak. Or if you choose to go to Dave, you can talk to him through the one that he's holding.
Hello.
Whoa.
Hello. Hello.
Whoa.
Hi.
Oh, hi, what's your name?
Did you hear Sophie?
I'm not sure. My name's Ryan, and that's Dave. Do you want to talk to us? Hi there.
Did you say your name is Sophie? Is this J Ward?
Were you here from when this was the jail? Where are you hiding? Are you hiding in one of these rooms?
Simon.
Simon. I think the spirit box just said Simon too, right before that said that.
Really?
I'll have to replay that back and listen to it, but it sounded like it said it was a man's voice.
Simon. Simon.
Simon, if you're here, can you touch that thing right there in the middle of the floor? It's got a green light and an antenna on it.
Devil.
Devil.
Devil. What rooms are down here at the end of the hallway? They built special rooms for patients that were infected with a virus. Do you remember what that was called? Do you remember what it was like to live in here?
Horrible. Did you hear that?
Can you tell us why you stayed here? There was a man that lived here for a long time that was a very huge problem. He used to threaten people all the time, and they made a special law to keep him here. Do you remember what his name was?
They went to court and they made a new act, and the act was a Citizens Protection Act. And they put it on Gary's head, and that meant that he would never get parole and he would never ever be released.
He used to threaten people all the time, and they made a special law to keep him here. Do you remember what his name was?
Three.
It sounded like someone with an Australian accent said Gary. Like Gary.
Maybe.
Which would be interesting because the guy's name was Gary Webb.
Yeah. Do you know Gary? Is your soul trapped here in this building?
I'm going to turn this box off here in just a few seconds. Tell us, are you trapped here? Family. Interesting responses there again. It's like the same thing where like as we found in a lot of different places and a lot of different locations, we get started with these sessions and we get a burst of activity, and then as the communication commences, it kind of starts to die off, like burn off, almost like it's exhausting fuel of some kind, which makes sense. There are a lot of theories that say paranormal activity and paranormal experiences, occurrences are fueled by energy, which is why they believe it drains batteries, and why EMF is produced whenever paranormal activity occurs.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have better luck if we go and try and talk to them in the cells.
I think we probably would.
I think we would. The original cells.
Yeah.
The ones that were there from the beginning to the end.
You want to head over there?
Let's give it a try.
So we're currently in the cell block. Dave has been really excited to go into one of the cells. So you're going to be going in alone, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go in and sit with George.
So what drew you to this particular cell?
Well, George is a homophobe, and I figured I would go in and see if I could get him to interact with me. See what happens. See if I could trigger him into his old past tendencies to see if he'll come out and speak with us.
All right, watch your back in there, because George is a violent fella.
That's what I've heard. But I've got one thing on George here, and that's I've got both of my eyes.
Ooh.
Oh, snap.
Ooh.
George, can I come in and lay down on your bed? If you don't want me to, can you set off one of those devices? All right, I'm coming in. Or am I coming out?
Snap.
Sorry. I'm done. Okay.
Ooh. Hello.
Tripwire just went off.
It did?
Yes.
On the stairs, yeah.
All right, George, I'm in here in your cell with you. I heard that you're a very angry guy. Are you in here with me? If you are, make one of these things go off.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Sounded like it was up top.
Someone up there. Why don't you come down here? Maybe you can walk down the stairs. George, we were sent here by Princess Margaret. How do you feel about that?
I heard that.
I heard that from in here.
Sound like footsteps up there.
We do have a flare upstairs.
We do, yeah.
So thermal imaging up near where the execution happened.
I'm gonna go just up to the top of the stairs here.
Can you follow Ryan up?
George, I heard that you lost a fight to a 13-year-old boy. He punched your eye out, literally. Does that upset you?
How do you feel in there, Dave?
I feel fine, actually.
Yeah?
Thinking about hopping on this bed here with George.
What the f*** was that?
Where
you
are
hear
you,
that?
Ryan?
I did hear that, yeah. He's directly above you, Amy.
Oh, that was over here, maybe?
Yes. It sounded like that dummy or something almost just fell off of that. Something was...
Was that you?
No.
No.
It just, something just moved
I was
over.
watching Ryan, he was not moving then.
Something just moved over here by the gallows.
Can you push one of the dummies over?
George, are we making you mad? If you want Dave out of yourself, push something over. I was in the rec room over here.
The rec room, yeah.
Rec room?
Are you not comfortable with your masculinity, George? You're not comfortable with yourself? Generally, those are the type of people who are homophobic.
Guys, I don't know what that sound was, but it sounded like something almost fell over. That was f***ing loud.
What's going on, Amy?
There's a lot of noises up here.
Really?
Yeah. Ryan's up there, but they're not coming from where Ryan is, so it's not him. It was like here and then down by the hanging bay.
Oh, wow.
Nothing seems to be out of place or moved. I don't see anything. That was so strange. That was so loud. If you want Dave out of yourself, push something over. I really did think that there was someone coming towards me. I didn't know which direction to turn to face the camera because it started over here and then it came from back here. And I didn't know what direction they were coming from.
I could hear it from in there. So.
Yeah. That was a little weird, a little wild.
Whoa,
oh,
tripwire.
Tripwire just went off as you were coming down those stairs.
Are you following me down, or are you trying to stop me from coming down the stairs?
Who's here with us?
Come on down the stairs.
I was standing right up here, completely still, when it sounded like there was like really fast and heavy movement from over here. So I turned that way to try and figure out what made that sound. And then there was a sound that came from down by the rec room. So I had then immediately asked if they could make the sound again. And immediately it was like, I said, if you don't like Dave in there, push something over. And it just went, and again, bam, from down there. I went and looked and I couldn't find anything that had fallen over, but it was a pretty heavy sound.
I can vouch for you not moving too, because I was actually watching you at the time.
Yeah, I was
up there through the net.
Standing still right there at that.
Yeah.
In front of this cell right here. I didn't know whether to move one way or the other because I didn't know what direction the noises were going to be coming from next.
Do you not want anybody up here?
All right, you got a new friend up there now. Can you make some noises for Dave? EMF on the stairs. Go on, go up there with Dave.
How many of y'all remember George getting beat up by a 13-year-old boy? Do you not like all four of us being in here?
Do you want to try Vox? Would you guys
Yeah,
be keen
let's
on
try.
it? Can you go up towards this guy? Right here. Maybe you can go towards those lights in his hand. We want to hear your voice. We want to know who you are. I'm. Can you finish that?
You say they're up there?
Or they're back there. I'm not sure. It's a little fast.
We'd like a name, please. Okay.
This one door?
This one door.
Can you give us maybe a cell number? Do these cells even have numbers?
I don't know, I don't see numbers on them.
Can you maybe give us a name? Because some of these cells have names at the front of them. And if you give us a name, we might be able to know what cell you're referring to.
Behind her?
Behind you.
Whoa.
Is that you, Dave?
That was not me, no.
That was really weird.
Was that up or down?
Was that up?
I actually thought it was down, but the echo just makes it so hard to work out where these noises are coming from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you tell us what made that noise?
Andrew Vare, Robert Burns, Henry Morgan, are you here?
Ines Trust. Because
Can you tell us what crime you were charged with?
That was me.
you experience others.
Did that just say ovilus? Or am I just hearing that? Okay, tell me where to go. Cat ball.
The cat ball's taking a beating.
Four.
There's 4 of us.
Okay. These aren't numbered, are they?
I couldn't see it.
Okay, is 4 on this side? You're not sure where 4 is? What about this side?
There.
Oh, this is that room, Jared.
This is the electroshock room?
Yeah. Can you tell me about this room? You remember when I slept here? Can you talk to me in here, please? Is there a kid here? I need you to tell me what happened to you, or what happened in this place.
Did you like the doctors that were here?
More than 6.
More than 6?
Whoa.
Who was that?
That wasn't you?
No.
There was just a knock on the steps and the tripwire went off.
Oh,
That noise did sound similar to what we heard before as well, Ryan.
that's
when you were
really
up there.
cool. Okay, if there's someone on the stairs, you can come up here with me. But if you come up here with me, you need to make some really loud noises up here. I know you did it for the boys when they were up here, and I'm jealous. I want the loud noises.
Did you follow Amy up the steps?
What did you think of the guards here?
Things have gotten very quiet.
Yeah, it seems to have just sort of tapered off now. But for a moment there, was like a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
One of the most haunted jails in all of Australia.
We had men, we had women, we also had children as well.
There's been so many deaths here. There's been over 300.
Does that sound like a voice?
That sounded weird.
And so it begins.
What was my name again?
Hi, Dave.
Are you on the stairs?
I'm coming.
Can you show us the path that you had to walk?
Wow. Sound like a male voice just said hanging.
That was freaking weird. That scared me.
Dude, I have chills right now. Is going nuts. Your decisions that you made led you here.
What did it say?
It said David.
All right, Ryan, here we are. We're officially in South Australia in Adelaide at the Adelaide jail.
Yeah, we were invited here by Adelaide's Haunted Horizons Ghost Tours to spend the night in what is considered to be one of the most haunted jails in all of Australia. And I'm so excited to go inside this beautiful building and not only experience the history, but the hauntings, because they did things differently here than what we've experienced in jails and prisons in America. And there is so much for us to see, so much for us to learn, and hopefully so much paranormal activity waiting for us behind these gates.
I can't wait.
You want to go inside?
Let's see if we can get in.
Let's see if we can get in. Oh.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to our jail. Come on in.
Thank you.
Though it's called a jail, make no mistake, this was a prison, and a lot of South Australia's most dangerous criminals were kept here. In these same halls, we'll be investigating and exploring tonight. Some of them never left, and I'm not just talking about ghosts. Those convicted of the worst crimes are still here to this day.
So the jail was built in 1841 and it shut in 1988. So it had 147 years of working life. During that time, we had 300,000 prisoners come through those white doors. We had men, we had women, we also had children as well. Youngest that I can find is around about 6 years old.
And this was no place for young children. These walls saw unspeakable things, and even housed murderers. 45 of them were punished by the noose. But that's not where their punishment ended. The punishment for those 45 souls continues to this day.
So you did not own your loved one's body, so you were not allowed to come and claim it if somebody was executed. The state owned the body, so the body remained here for eternity.
They are buried in a cheap pine coffin with some lime mixture on the top, with some water to make them decompose very quickly, and they're buried in a very shallow grave there, which remains there to this day as a final punishment.
These cemeteries inside the prison walls are called Murderers' Row, and this eternal confinement is why I told you some of the prisoners never left. All 45 are still here.
Elizabeth Walcock, I'm just going to talk about her briefly. She was the only female that we ever hanged in South Australia. And hers was a miserable story. She was born in a place called Burra, which is a mining town. They didn't have a lot of homes there when the miners first came, so they dug homes in a creek bed in Burra there. But unfortunately, creek beds, big floods come down, wipe out those homes. So her father went to Ballarat to the goldfields, took his family with him, and the mother left and abandoned Elizabeth there when she was 4 years old with her dad. Now, things got worse for Elizabeth because when she was 6 or 7, She was physically attacked by another man, and she was left for dead as well. So she had a very traumatic start in her life. She eventually learned her mother was still alive, came down to South Australia to be with her mother, and met Thomas Woolcock. And she started to be like the housekeeper and nanny for the kids, which in the 1800s, a young girl under the roof of a much older man, very much frowned upon. So he married her to try and stop the rumours, and things got from bad to worse because he was also highly abusive. He was a drunk. And just after that, Thomas Woolcock got very sick and got sicker and sicker until he passed away. And they did an autopsy on him, found he died of mercury poisoning. Now, she was brought down to Adelaide. She was not allowed to speak in her own defence. She was found guilty of having murdered her husband, and she was sentenced to hang by the neck until dead. So once the sentencing came through, very quick, it's only 28 days at the most here in Adelaide, in South Australia, she was taken through a door in the wall just there to a gallows that was waiting for her just on the other side of that wall. And she went up the gallows in her favourite white dress with a bunch of flowers and just said, "It's God's will."
We have had a figure of a lady seen. She was wearing a certain colour dress. People think she could be connected to our only lady that was executed here. So, and that's happened a couple of times in there, so.
I went in there, had the door open. The idea was to put the equipment on that hatch there and in the cell, read this confession here live and see what would happen. So I did that. I had 2 flashing cat balls, one behind each other here. I had a ghost box, spirit box there, and I started to read that. It's really difficult to read. It took me about 15 minutes. They printed it like she wrote it, and she was not good with grammar and spelling. And after I did that, I went, oh my God, her grammar is terrible. Just after that, you hear on the ghost box a male voice come out going, "Focus on her." Focus on her. Then you hear another word going, "Good luck." And then you see the back ball start to flash. The back ball came forward, hit the front ball. They both started flashing. They both flew past me. Now, oh my God, both balls just came off the thing. Back ball, no reason at all. Just moves on its own, comes forward and knocks them all off. So I did apologise to Elizabeth. I'm not so rude now.
Elizabeth Woolcock and 19 others were executed using gallows structures that are no longer on site. But the final 25 hangings occurred in areas that we're going to get to investigate tonight. These areas are notorious for paranormal activity. But even for those who didn't face the noose, sometimes death was unavoidable in the Adelaide jail.
Well, there's been so many deaths here. There's been over 300 through murder, suicide, old age, illness, and then you've had 45 executions as well. So it goes a long way to having paranormal activity in these buildings.
The sun sets while Alison continues our walkthrough of the jail, and to our benefit a storm moves in, making this night more exciting and more creepy.
Oh, yay.
It's finally happening, you guys. On an investigation when it's supposed to storm, it's finally happening here in Adelaide, at the Adelaide jail.
They didn't have toilets here, even up till 1988 when the place closed down. That's one of the main reasons were the conditions. They were still using buckets in 1988. Back in the very early days, they would have hammocks in here, and they would use the rope from the hammocks to take their own lives. And the food, I was told the food was absolutely awful. They used to give them this horrible slop that even the local birds wouldn't eat.
All right, so this building that you're in is Remand. Now, Remand is just where they were put before they went for their court case. So they weren't innocent, they weren't guilty, but it was getting overcrowded in here. At one point, they had 3 people per cell. I never liked this building. There is a more haunted building, which is the new building, but I never liked it because when sweet sound.
That's creepy.
And so it begins. This is the only block that we really had anything physical or what seemed to be a physical attack happening. So we had a group of people in here. One of them really wasn't interested in in the ghost stuff. He'd come along, but he wasn't. And I said, well, look, I'll take you for a history tour. My guide can look after this. So the next thing I know, there's this torchlight bouncing towards me, and I'm standing there going, hello, something's happened. And Ash came running up to me going, you better get back down to remand, because Dee, who was one of our guests, has been hurled out of this cell. And she smashed her head on the cement here. She said suddenly it was starting to feel uncomfortable in there. And before she could do anything about it, she said she felt something hit her right in the side there. She went out backwards. She didn't even have time to grab the door frame. And she did take the full brunt with the back of her head on the cement here.
That takes a lot of force, a lot of energy.
Yeah. And here, and it's funny you should say that, because here's the other observation. When that happened, it was almost like it expelled all this energy, and then it was so quiet in here.
If this cell block has been known to have physical attacks, we'll definitely need to focus our attention here later. In a place like the Adelaide jail, anger would become almost second nature, as these prisoners were trapped in these cages. The outside world was so close, they could almost feel it from behind the walls.
And it's really weird because you're walking down this really old alleyway, you've got buildings either side of you, and a place that dates back to 1841. You've got the emergency helicopter coming over. It's strange. And it must be very frustrating, especially in the latter years for people that are in here, because you can hear everything going off around you. You know, what it must have been like being sitting in a cell and seeing and hearing the airplanes go overhead. That must have been torture for them.
So where we are is the hanging tower. So I'm standing under the gallows here and standing on the trapdoor. So this is the condemned prisoner cell here, and this one here is where the executioner was. Now, just before 6 o'clock, they would be brought into this room here. As you can see, it's not a most appealing room. That's where they would sit until just before 8 o'clock. Just before 8 o'clock, this door would open, and out would come the prisoner. Now, this will be the last thing that he sees, is this rope sitting here waiting for him. He would be stood facing in this direction. He would have the hood put over his head, the rope put around his neck, and then they would wait. And they would be waiting to see if there was a reprieve. If there wasn't a reprieve, then the executioner would be in this room here. This is where the lever is. There's a little window on here. So the signal would be given through that window. The executioner would get that lever. The executioner would pull it, boom, down they would go.
You can imagine the emotions of people knowing that their lives were going to end in so many hours. It must have been absolute torture for them to actually be in the condemned man's cell, or to be in the cell before they get taken to wherever they're going to be executed. And the emotions must be unbelievable.
Have you ever had any paranormal experiences in here? Because that could really be a recipe for trapped energy.
My very first ever experience here was actually on a tour before we started investigating. We had the tour in here. I was on the tour. Suddenly it felt like there was pressure coming through my back. I could feel it aching in my kidneys. I could feel it aching even into my stomach. It was like this pressure pushing through into the organs. And I must have gone white, because she looked at me and said, "You all right?" And I said, "I don't know." I felt really weird. So she grabbed me and she dragged me out there, got to the end of the ramp, and then it all lifted, all disappeared.
Have you ever heard of or had any experiences yourself with paranormal activity related to some of the people that were executed?
Personally, no. I haven't, no.
What was that?
Was that you guys down there?
Did that sound like a voice?
That sounded weird. I don't know what it was.
Did you hear it, Dave? No. Have you ever heard of or had any experiences yourself with paranormal activity related to some of the people that were executed?
Personally, no. I haven't, no. Personally, no. I haven't, no.
What was that?
All right, so where we are now, this is a new building. So now the new building seems to make it all sound modern and whatnot, but it was actually built in 1879. So back then it was the last main building to be built on site. It got the nickname New Building back then, and that's stuck. Everybody refers to it as a new building today. So this is the building that brought us to the jail, because this is the one the stories were coming out of. So people, even during the day, were reporting having seen a guard in here, usually up on the second gantry or the top gantry there. So
hearing the footsteps and hearing the door, sometimes you go around, it's almost as though somebody is walking around the cells, and then you can hear the eyepiece that they move to one side. That's a distinct sound. It's almost like there was a prison guard in here just doing his daily job.
We call him Sir. It's supposed to be a guard, and we call him Sir because we were doing an audio experiment in here with the ghost box one night, and we very politely said one night, "What do you like to be called, Sir?" What you hear is this staticky stuff on the radio before you hear this very clear male voice just come back on us and just go, "Sir." So we came in here. I stand where I always stand here on the third step. My backup for the night had finished. He was sitting on the same step, but towards the railings there. As I started to talk about Sir, we started to hear footsteps coming from the top gantry from where we'd just come from around the corner there. They came to the top of the stairs behind me. You couldn't see anything, there's no figure. Came to the top of the stairs behind me there, and I'm standing there going, yes, because their jaws dropped. They were that definite. What I didn't expect is what happened next, because they started to come down the stairs towards us. It walked between me and my guide, and then we listened to it walking off down the hallway here and out the door at the end. You could not have choreographed that any better than what happened that night.
This officer seems to be the most dominant energy within the new building, despite the fact that there is no documentation of any guards dying inside its walls. But there has been death in this building. On the second level sits the third out of 4 gallows of the Adelaide jail, and it was the most utilized in the history of the prison. 21 executions were performed inside this building, and it just so happens we're here on the anniversary of one of those hangings.
Myuu killed his friend Tommy R. Fook because he didn't like the way that he was cussing and swearing at him, so he shot him in the head. Supposedly he didn't rob him, though. He did to killing him, but not to robbing him. And he actually put his body into a cesspit behind one of the buildings on Hindley Street. He was actually executed here at the Adelaide jail on the 10th of November, 1883. He lost his life. So you should never shoot people in the head because they cuss and swear at you.
Words to live by. But with that, I think we're gonna go ahead and get started with the investigation. The storm has just rolled through, that energy is really starting to ramp up, and who knows what could happen while we're here tonight at the old Adelaide jail. So are you ready to go lights out, Dave? Switch over to night vision and see what we can pick up on?
Let's go do it. Let's get ready. Let's do this one.
All right, so we're getting ready to do abandonment. We're gonna leave the Adelaide jail completely empty with 4 areas covered by cameras. Right now we are in A block, also known as the new building. This is the set of stairs that Alison said that she heard what sounded like very heavy and distinct boot steps walking up and down, and we have a paranormal tripwire that is actually laying up the stairs here to try and capture any sort of EMF changes or fluctuations of things that may be moving up and down the stairs. Our next camera we have is in the hanging tower. There were 4 known executions in that specific area. There were also 21 executions here in this building, in the new building. But we have the hanging tower covered as well. We have the paranormal music box in there. We have the ghost tube running to see if it says anything relevant, but also we have a piece of equipment that we are borrowing. Since we are in Adelaide, we are borrowing a piece of equipment from Amy's Crypt. Amy let us borrow her paranormal tripwire. Also, there's an EMF lantern that she is letting us use that we have actually hanging from the hook where the noose would be strung through during those executions. So We'll see if there's any interaction with that to see if that picks up on any fluctuations in electromagnetic energy, to see if there's anything paranormal that might occur in relation to those hangings. Our third camera we have set up right outside of Elizabeth's cell. Elizabeth was the only woman that was actually executed at the old Adelaide jail. So, did you see that? Tripwire went, I just think. It didn't? Huh, I thought the tripwire just went. Do you know Elizabeth? But outside of Elizabeth's cell, we have the Mel meter. We have a cat ball because Alison said a cat ball flew off of that. Did you see that? Yeah. We also have the ovilus on the ledge to see if it picks up on any words that are spoken by Elizabeth herself, so we'll see if that says anything. The fourth and final camera we have set up in the remand building. It's a lot of residual energy in there because that's where inmates awaiting trial were actually housed. You can imagine the panic, the anxiety, the fear they may have had awaiting their sentence. Are you ready, Dave, to leave these cameras set up and see what they pick up?
Yes, I am.
Well, let's do it.
Hold on, I think this calls for our very first Australian we're leaving.
I think so. I think we need to do an Adelaide, Australia, we're leaving. Wow. Tripwire just went.
Yeah, we're leaving. Just give us a second. All right. We're leaving!
Let's do it.
Before we show you the evidence that was captured on abandonment, it's important to point out the lights in the hanging tower are on a timer to conserve energy. Once turned on, they stay on for 15 minutes and then turn off automatically. So when these lights turn off, know that it's not paranormal.
Demon.
As you just saw, it didn't take long for the EMF lantern to start detecting strange spikes. But that's not the weirdest part. After this flurry of EMF, the lantern fell silent for 4 minutes before it spiked again. And that would be the last time it would trigger. For the next 51 minutes, the lantern is silent. A pattern we would also notice in the new building with the EMF tripwire. Our first session in the Adelaide jail will take place inside the new building, with the reports of a guard called Sir frequently being seen and heard. Along with the dark history of 21 executions inside this cell block, we're more than ready to see what's waiting for us in here. We'll start with an Estus Method Spirit Box session, and I'll be listening to the Spirit Box while sitting directly below the gallows.
Blindfold going on.
And once again, we'll record the Spirit Box audio as I'm listening, so you can hear the voices too.
Oh, that was weird. Sounded like a male voice just said hanging as soon as I sat down. Oh, that was weird. Oh, that was weird. Sorry.
Okay, so we are getting started on an Estes method session here at the Adelaide jail. Ryan is going to be listening. We have all kinds of devices set up around here. We have a tripwire here.
You want to talk shipping?
Oh, wow. Sounded like someone said, wanna talk
Not really. I just came here to
do something. Listen.
Listen.
I just heard the meter on the stairs go off. Are you on the stairs?
I'm coming.
If you're on the stairs,
follow me.
Follow you where?
Ryan. Oh wow, it just said Ryan.
You have to let me know where to follow you.
David?
What is your name? Tell us your name. Can you do that? Thomas Blythe.
Face him.
Thomas Blythe.
Follows.
Whoa. Tripwire just went off.
I feel like there's someone standing behind me.
I was just down there. Who is communicating with Ryan? Tell us your name.
Something about anger. And then it sounded like it said, till the end.
What are you so angry for? Are you over there on the steps? If you're over there on the steps, make yourself known.
Coming.
Can you try and push that off of there?
The light.
Run.
Fear, and then run.
You made that light go off over there. Can you please knock it down?
Yes.
Dead.
Are you dead? Do you know you're dead? What happened to you? How did you die? Can you tell me that?
Unfortunately, we didn't realize this action cam was never fully connected to our external battery pack, and in the middle of this session, it dies without us knowing. Plus, it seems whoever was answering Dave's questions has stopped talking.
Anything interesting so far?
Some of it was interesting, yeah.
It was like very, very frequent voices there to begin with, and then it just kind of died off.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if we switch, with Dave listening and me asking questions, we can gain their interest back.
All right, now Dave is listening. And I, Ryan, am going to be the one chatting with you.
He's coming.
Whoa. Are you kidding me? Is this Sir?
Yes.
Hello, sir. Tripwire. Dude, I have chills right now. Is going nuts. Were you an officer here?
Yep.
Were you a guard?
Hey.
Hey. I wish I could get up there.
Isolated.
Is that why you stay upstairs? Because you like to be isolated? Tripwire. Sir, can you come down here for us so we can hear your footsteps? Let me ask you something. Could you move something to show us that you're here? Because there's a lot of people that are unsure about what happens to us after we pass on, after we die. And you're in a unique position, sir, to show people that you can still interact with us. Pyramid just went off. Can you tell us, sir? Can you show us that you still are here with us?
Oh.
It just went dead.
What?
Everything.
Yeah.
I have a box in my hand here that it is believed you can use it to speak to me. You can use it to send Dave or I a message. If there's anyone in this cell right here, if you walk across the back wall, it'll play music.
We've come a long way, haven't we, Ryan?
We sure have. We've come a hell of a long way.
How do you feel about having a couple Americans standing here outside your cell? That's creepy.
Can you pull energy from that storm, from that lightning, to make something happen for us? Our whole goal is to try and document proof that there is something beyond this life. There is something that happens to us after we die. There is something that allows us to interact with each other still. Look.
What did it say?
It said David.
I'm right here.
Witch.
No, I'm not a witch. But I am standing here. Talk to me through that device.
Do you think we're witches because we're trying to communicate with the dead?
Is there something you want to say to me? We would love for you to come out and talk to us a little bit. Can you use that device to tell us your name? If there's anybody in this cell block, we're asking you to make yourselves known. Look at this right here. Look at all the bright lights on this thing. Can you reach out and try and touch that? Make the colors show up like I just did? I don't think you can do it. I don't think you will do it.
It just did it.
Okay, you proved me wrong. Well, hold on. I did just put my arm up here when that happened.
Okay.
Let me just...
No.
Okay. All right. You proved me wrong.
So that lantern detects EMF, guys. It's quite literally like a K2 meter. But it has sound and light recognition for the EMF that it detects, and it lights straight up the lantern. So, what? What happened?
I just saw like a shadow. Like obviously I can see your shadow.
Yeah.
But it was right along the cell door front. And it was a very small, black, fast-moving ball of light. And as soon as that happened, the lantern went off.
The lantern went off again?
It flickered, but it didn't make sound.
Let's take a look at the footage to see if anything was captured. The first thing I notice is the unfortunate fact that I'm blocking most of the area Dave claims to have seen this anomaly, and no shadow ball was captured on our wide camera angle. Also, at the exact same moment that he sees it, I move my arm and hand to adjust my hat. It is possible the movement of my hand created a weird shadow that moved down the wall, startling Dave. But since we didn't capture what he saw, we have nothing to compare it to and no way to know what caused what he saw. What we do know, though, is that we're on edge in this creepy and dark cell block.
That was freaking weird. That scared me.
Did Dave just see you? Did he just see your shadow or your light or whatever that was?
That scared me. Ryan and I are not trying to be rude or anything like that, or sound like we are, but I'm sure you don't care. You're an inmate here. I'm sure you could kill us up in about 2 minutes, couldn't you?
Can you come speak through this box in my hand right here, get as close as you can, and try and say a word? I said, get out of here. Do you not want us to be up here?
What was my name again?
Like I said, now listen. We're listening. Hi, Dave.
Yeah, hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave. Hi, Dave.
Yeah, hey, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah, hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hi. What is your name?
It just said Dave again.
It did.
Who?
That's creeping me out.
Is your name Dave, or are you talking about Dave right here?
We can both be named Dave, that's okay. I just heard it again.
Are you buried on the property? Are you one of the men or women that's on Murderer's Row? How did you die? How did you pass away? What did you think that said?
I can't say it.
Okay.
I didn't hear what the voice said in the moment, but Dave's shocked and uncomfortable demeanor, plus his refusal to repeat it, told me everything I needed to know. And on review, he was right. Even if this was interference, the racial slur that came out of the spirit box would not be on public radio. Could we be in the presence of an angry and racist prisoner here in the remand building?
Which cell number was yours?
I thought I just heard something that take them back or something.
Which cell number was yours? Which cell number was yours?
Do you want us to leave? Do you want us to get out of here? If you do, just tell us that you want us to leave and we'll pack up and go right now. It seems like the activity here comes in waves.
It does, very much.
But that was f***ing with my head because we got the name David through the Ovilus. We got David, Dave, hey Dave, hi Dave, how many times? Like 3 times in a row through this box.
On the moon phase, yeah.
Someone is either named Dave or David or something or someone really likes you.
Yeah.
We're here.
What was that? The lantern just went off. Oh, wow. Right as soon as I said we're here. Whoa. Who's in here?
We decided to put the EMF tripwire stretching from the condemned man's cell to the gallows trapdoor. If there's any energy from these prisoners' final walk, hopefully we'll be able to see it, visually, on the tripwire.
I'm gonna sit down right here inside the cell. Are you standing out there at the gallows? Were you condemned? Whoa.
Can you show us the path that you had to walk?
Wow. Wow. That was really cool.
What was the path that you had to walk?
Did you have to walk from where I'm sitting straight out the door? You've been good about lighting up the line of lights. Can you light up the one that is at the very end of it? Just go straight out into the middle of the room and touch the red light. Moving past the music box. Can you tell me what happened right here? Use this box in my hand and tell me what happened.
Were you afraid to walk out that door? If you were, make those lights light up again. Wow.
We're really sorry that this is where your life ended up. I'm sure there were so many more things you wanted to do, so many things that you could do, but your decisions that you made led you here. Whoa. Wow. We're going to have to leave here soon, but we want to get your message. We want to hear from you. We want to know whether or not you can still communicate with us after you've passed on. And like I always tell pretty much everyone that we try and come in contact with, right now you're in the position to show us that there is a possibility for life after death.
Looky here. That's the red light we're talking about right here. So my question to you is, if there's something more after we die, can you follow that line of lights up to that red light and make it turn on? You gotta make that red light turn on, please. Can you show us what the path of your last walk was?
Well, we want to thank you, whoever you are,
Whether you're here or whether you're just, whoa.
I am a very rational person, but the stuff I've seen happen, it's challenged me. There's 115 buildings here, set out on 15 streets.
So you'd say there may be something that is aggressive.
This felt predatory. Whatever this one was, this one felt predatory.
I just heard a very clear man's voice through the lucid headphones that I'm wearing right now.
You died after you lived in this house?
Correct?
Correct. Wow. Push it right off of there, please.
I said no.
I thought I just heard that door move right there.
This shadowy figure that is seen moving throughout Talem town. I mean, the shock and the disbelief and the energy that I felt in that moment.
And you know when you're walking out there on your own, you can bump into it at any point.
Well, an old church in a tourist village at Talem Bend is laying a claim to being our state's most haunted site.
I had this feeling of cold fingers go across my arm and actually like squeeze and pull.
This place is a tourist village to save historical buildings, but when the sun goes down and darkness falls on Talem town, it becomes a literal ghost town. And tonight we get to stay here after dark to see if all those haunting stories are true.
Okay, welcome to Talem town. So this village here is not a real village. I'll say this straight away. It was actually a recreated village, and people say, well, why would it be haunted? Because it was never really an active working place. Largely because of the way it was made. In 1982...
What the f*** is that thing?
What is that thing?
I don't know.
Dear. It's probably just a Christmas beetle. They're harmless. They're not going to hurt you, I promise you. I saw it. It was huge.
It was pretty big. It came towards my camera first. It swerved, missed me.
Went straight for Dave.
Went straight for Dave.
Do you know, that was probably our ghost. It possesses wildlife. Makes wildlife do strange things. There's 115 buildings here, set out on 15 streets, but at the end of the day, it was never a working village. Where you're standing used to be a paddock or a field full of dairy cows. So now the owner inherited this property from his grandfather. He didn't want cattle, had just seen a pioneer village down in a place called Swan Hill and decided that's what he wanted here. But he wanted to do it differently. He didn't want to make the buildings look old. He wanted to keep the authenticity. So if an old building came up for sale around the state or just over the border, he would buy it, put it on the back of a truck and truck it in here.
Then, about 12 years ago, stories started to spread that one of Talem Town's buildings in particular was the site of some very strange paranormal occurrences.
There was rumours coming out that this church behind us here was haunted. So it was already hitting the newspapers, and we have had some stuff happen here that has challenged me. I am a very rational person, very nuts and bolts, but the stuff I've seen happen, especially in this church, it's challenged me. With the creaky door. All right, so this is the Wolseley Church, and it is a real church. It was built in 1900. From the very beginning, we were having weird things happen in here. I had one night, the very first investigation we ever did here, there was only 3 girls, and we had set ourselves up in the pews just behind you there with the equipment, and nothing happened. We were here from 1 o'clock in the morning till 3:30, nothing. And if anybody had asked me then, is there anything in the Wolseley Church, I would probably have gone, yeah, we didn't feel anything. So we'd gone outside to get a caffeine, sitting in the car, and we saw blue flashes of light on the side of the church here. However, the more we looked at it, we more realised it's not outside the church. That's coming from inside the church. So we came running in here to see who it was. Nobody in here. And we had a camera running the whole time as well.
Wow.
The audio is a lot more interesting, the voice recorder. You can hear us go out there. You can hear a massive bang in here, shuffling footsteps. And then it's like somebody bent over the microphone and just went about 4 times.
One thing that really stands out to me from what Alison just said, Dave, she talked about her first experience here in this church was 12 years ago, and it was when she left a camera, audio as well, in this church alone. That really plays well into an abandonment if we wanted to set up a camera in here later.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And let it roll to see what happens.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. We should put that on the plan.
Yep.
Put that down for the plan.
Definitely worth it. And I always say you have to have your defining moment before you'll believe in ghosts, or you'll believe there's a ghost here. And that's the way it should be. My defining moment was not far into doing the tours here. So this is where I stand, right here. And 8 people moved from their pews. It was like musical chairs in here. They were just moving pews during the talk because 8 people got prodded, poked, had their clothing played with. Teenagers, 2 teenagers pulled hoods up over their heads and tightened the drawstrings because something was playing with their hair. When a man, one of our guests over by the window, started to sing a hymn to see if he could get things stirred up in here. I'm standing here watching the silhouette of a figure of a man coming in. He'd be about 6'3", very lean, went into the back corner of the church, and that's where I lost track of him because he kind of blended with the shadows. Got my torch, shone it to the back, nothing there. Everybody that works here knows it's here, without a doubt. And that's actually pretty scary for us, to be quite honest, because we've got to walk around in those streets in the dark on our own.
Yeah.
These guys are going to feel what it's like. They've just looked at it in daylight. It's not daylight now.
Yeah.
Different feel. And you know it's out there. I think it's more to do with the land, not with the buildings. And you know when you're walking out there on your own, you can bump into it at any point.
With 115 buildings on this property, we know that there's no way we can cover the whole town tonight. So we asked Alison to only take us to the buildings that she believes are the most haunted. And with that, she took us straight to the Emporium.
Creepy mannequin.
That is some very creepy mannequins right there.
If you don't like mannequins, this is not the place to be. And we didn't put them here. We were just lucky that they were here. So they're all antique, as you can see. That one looks like she crawled out the grave. My favourite is this one at the back, though, with no eyes and the crap face.
When we first got here, you had talked about there was a building that you felt the most uncomfortable in. Which building is that? This one?
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody expects the church, and the church we do get a lot of challenging stuff happening in. But I would rather be in the church packing up at the end of the night on my own than ever come into here and look for stuff in here. I'm going to say we think at some point in one of these 3 houses, because it is 3 houses that have been put together, the walls have been knocked out to make into one long shop. It almost seems like at one point in one of these 3 houses here, there was a very abusive relationship, if you like. So whatever's here doesn't seem to like women, put it that way, in all that time. Now, on one of the occasions, we had a big thunderstorm come through, and I had said to our Facebook page, anybody want to come up, see if Hollywood is correct and thunderstorms and lightning make the activity a lot better. And we did get a few takers. Thunderstorm went through, it was amazing. And it was the most embarrassingly quiet night I've ever had. So it's like nothing. I could have slept in here, I heard that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Behind you, Dave?
It was right over here behind
and it's usually behind the counter, and the door's just creaking behind you as well. And it was the most embarrassingly quiet night I've ever had. So it's like embarrassingly quiet night I've ever had. So it's like nothing. I could have slept in here, I heard that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
You did.
I hate this building, but I could have slept here. It was that peaceful that night. It was just quiet. So at the end of the night, I took 2 girls down there, Tan and Emily. We were running the spirit box, and I did something I don't normally do, and that is I started to challenge a little bit. So I stood there and I said, did you used to hit your wife? If you used to hit your wife, why don't you try it with us? We're just 3 girls. Or are you too gutless? I said. Almost immediately at the spirit box we had, get out. All right, we'll get out then. But here's the kicker. I came in 2 weeks later to dismantle a camera in here on my own. So I was behind the counter there, and all I was doing, I was so far away from the counter, all I was doing was undoing a plug on a battery pack. And as I did that plug, this mannequin to the side of me here suddenly went flying across this room and hit the door behind Ryan there. Now, I cannot tell you how unnerving that is when you're in the building on your own with a little torch and you realise the only real way out, or the quickest way out, is actually where the mannequin's just been thrown from. That was the one night that I threw my video camera on the tripod into the back of my car seat without dismantling it and putting it in its box, protective case, asked the couple to wait, put the alarms on, and then we all drove out the gate at exactly the same moment. There is no way on God's earth was I coming back into this dark village on my own.
It sounds like that door's trying to move behind you there, the storeroom door. Where does that, does that go outside?
That's nailed shut. That goes nowhere. It goes outside, but that's nailed shut. That doesn't open. No way on God's earth was I coming back into this dark village on my own. No way on God's earth was I coming back into this dark village on my own.
It sounds like that door's trying to move behind you there, the storeroom door. Where does that go outside?
That's nailed shut.
So you'd say there may be something that is aggressive that may hang out in here, or maybe just here at Talem
That one I'm going to say was very different. I hadn't felt anything like that. This felt predatory. Whatever this one was, this one felt predatory.
If there is something predatory that lurks here at Talem Town, we'll have to keep our guard up tonight. And the last building of interest has a story that will absolutely shock us.
Now it says on the sign outside, Bent Elbow Hotel. However, it's not a hotel in real life. This was somebody's home. So he used to live in Lamoureux, and when he passed away, Peter bought the house, brought it here, and made it into the village hotel. So you can see kind of where there would have been another wall. Here you're standing what would have been the hallway, and this would probably have been a front room or a bedroom once upon a time. This was all put in after it arrived. The problem with that is the owner was religious, hated alcohol, and hated pubs. So pretty much Peter made it into what he would not have enjoyed. Now, when we first came here, we didn't just want to sit in a church all night. We knew the stories were coming out of the church, but we didn't just want to sit in a church all night. 115 buildings, never been here before, thought, all right, he's told us about the hotel, let's come here. This is my very first experience. So with not knowing the village that well, we came down the veranda with the torch, and as I got to the door, shone the torch through the window just to see what the lay of the land was before I opened the door. As I did that, and the torch went down the hallway there, a shadow of a person crossed through the beam of the torch. Now, we came running in here. We thought maybe somebody was hiding. We searched this place upside down. The only way out of this building is back past us and out the front door here. That back door is nailed shut, so they couldn't get out. So who he was, I don't know.
Do you think that that could be the owner?
Do you want to know my opinion?
Yeah.
Don't think so. I think whatever that one was, I still think it's what we've all seen around this village. Kag, who's my lead guide and who's also my best friend, comes around the world with me investigating. She had her experience. Somebody collapsed in the church. She was coming down the front street to go and get a drink of water for them. As she came down the front street, she thought my husband had doubled round and come up the street towards her, because she could see a figure coming towards her about my husband's build. And she thought he was playing a trick on her. And so she went, ha, 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 Michael, got the torch, put it on. Nobody there. And she said she watched it coming towards her. As soon as the torch hit it, it didn't exist. So we do get a lot of stuff happening in here. When I let people have a little walk around before I tell them anything, we let them walk around before I put it in their heads. So they get a feel of the place first. And then I ask, is there any point of this house that's got your attention? Statistically, higher than it should be, we keep getting the bath coming up. So they'll say the washroom, I'll say anywhere in particular, the bath. And then one night we had a young lad get in the bath. So the idea was he was going to sit in the bath, we had the equipment around him, and we just see what would happen. He seemed to trance out, and then he started to talk like a lady. which is funny, but if he was making something up, he would think the easiest story for him to make up if he was attention seeking would be, I drowned in the bath. I lost my life in the bath, took my life in the bath. I had an accident in the bath. That would be the most easiest story to think of. He didn't. He sat there and went, I'm surrounded by blood. He said, I'm losing the baby. He says, I don't care. My partner doesn't want it, and neither do I. Bit of a weird thing for a man to come out with, of all things. And he has been on tour since, and he's not like that. Now, we had a tourism show called SA Live come and do a segment on us a few weeks after that. And Danny, who is the owner's son who lives in the property next door, came across to see what was happening. And we said, Danny, do you know anything at all about the history of this house, especially this bath? Did anybody die in it? And he said, well, don't tell my dad. But when this building came here, the bath that was in here was in better condition than one that he had in Talem Bend in a rental property. So he swapped them without telling his dad. Now, the house did have a nameplate on it. It's in the shop at the moment, the one in Talem Bend. So I hedged my bets. I went into the old newspapers, punched in Talem Bend, the family name, and I also punched in inquest, which usually brings up deaths. Boom, up it came. The young daughter of the family was found dead in a pool of blood because she had died of blood loss from an illegal operation. An illegal operation back then meant an illegal abortion. There is no way this young man would have known. Absolutely no way. And that's what I want as a researcher. Take the tours away. As a researcher, I want something that we find that backs up something weird that we've happened on tours. Now, it is capable of poltergeist activity in here. I was in here one night. There used to be a sink there, and I had my voice recorder on the sink, and the tour was standing pretty much where these guys are in the hallway here. So there's no guest near my voice recorder. And we were doing an EVP session, had all the lights off, and they were asking questions, when suddenly there was a massive bang on the door frame here in the hallway. Of course, everybody's torches went on, and my voice recorder was lying in bits on the floor. Now, there's no way I'm going to pick up my voice recorder, especially when it's about $200 worth, and throw it against the door frame to break it. So it is very capable of poltergeist activity in this whole place.
Dave, we just finished the walkthrough, and one thing that I really feel like we should focus on tonight is that hotel. Because I don't know what it was about that story that Alison told about that tour guest in the bathtub and the connection with the history that she found in that girl having an illegal abortion in that bathtub that probably took her life in the tub. In the moment, I mean, you could see it on my face as Alison was telling the story. It just, I mean, the shock and the disbelief and the energy that I felt in that moment. I feel like if that is still trapped there in that tub and in that area, it might be worth it to try and see if we can tap into that, to see what may actually come from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the sun has descended now, and it is time for us to switch over to night vision and to grab the cameras, set them up, and to see what happens in some of these buildings when they're completely empty. So are you ready for abandonment? Oh God, that was so close to my face.
Yes, I am ready for abandonment. We have a lot of amazing different properties on the property here with a bunch of amazing stories to go along with them, and I think we should try to see if we can get something to happen.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's brave the bugs and investigate Talem Town.
I hate Australia. Just for the bugs.
He loves Australia.
Everything else is nice, not the bugs.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Dave, so we are getting ready to leave 3 of the buildings set up with cameras here in Talem Town to see what paranormal activity happens when they are completely empty. Right now we're in the hotel, an area where Alison told us a very impactful story of an experience with the bathtub, which is just down this hallway, but also, that wasn't me. But also this bar is set up in here, and the former owner actually had was apparently very religious and didn't like alcohol and pubs. So this bar right here being set up, they believe that may spike activity, it may incite activity, so that's why we chose to set up the camera here. There's also a camera in the church, an area where they frequently have very physical activity. People have been touched, people have been pushed, but also very clear disembodied voices and sounds of people moving around in there have been picked up. Our third and final camera is set up in the Emporium, the only building that Alison said that she was nervous to go into by herself. We have a K2 meter, we have the EDI+, we have the MEL meter in there to see if there was any interaction with the EMF of that area. So let's leave this empty here for a little while and see what happens. You ready, Dave?
I'm behind the camera, but I'm more than ready.
Let's do it. Before we get into any more of the evidence we captured in the church, it's important to point out that we do not believe the loud knocking sounds you'll hear are in any way paranormal. We believe the bats inside the church are causing these sounds. It's obvious the bats aren't shy about how much noise they're making because we even had one land on the camera. But as you will soon hear, we did capture something very strange in this church. And at about the halfway point of this abandonment, we'll capture a sound that has us and Haunted Horizons Ghost Tours scratching our heads. This is one of the two sounds on abandonment that has puzzled us. It sounds like an old bell that would go on a trolley, bike, or even in a church. The distinct and rapid sound of metal on metal is very recognizable, and immediately made us contact Alison and Kag to see if there was any bell on the property of Talem Town that would make this sound. But their response left us even more puzzled. There are no bells in Talem. So what could this be? A residual imprint left here in this church replaying itself? Someone trying to get our attention? Or something explainable? Take another listen and leave us a comment to let us know what you think.
And immediately after that strange bell sound, the church fell silent of all unexplainable occurrences. And the rest of the buildings did too, actually. For 15 minutes, that is, because at 45 minutes in the Emporium, we captured the strangest sound yet. None of the paranormal equipment in this building vibrates, and there are no cell phones in here. So once again, we asked Alison and Kag, and they're stumped by this one too. Alison says, in the 12 years she's been investigating Talem Town, she has never heard or captured anything like this sound. So what could this be? What is violently vibrating against the countertop? If you have any ideas, let us know once again in the comments.
Ending.
Frightened.
We just have the one.
Strangled.
Strangled. Frightened. One of the comments. Did you just whisper? I thought I heard a man whisper there. One of the houses that Peter used to build this was owned by a man who apparently was very violent and abusive towards his spouse. So that's very weird that we got the word strangled and frightened immediately as soon as we turned on the ghost tube. What? Dave?
Yeah.
Did you just say something?
No.
I just heard a very clear man's voice through the lucid headphones that I'm wearing right now. I'm gonna replay this right now. What? What? These headphones record audio themselves. They have microphones built in, and we believe that they may be able to hear frequencies that our ears may not be able to hear. So I'm recording this simultaneously to a digital voice recorder for you all to listen to as well. And whatever I hear, you're going to hear as well. Hopefully we'll know whether or not that was something paranormal on that, or at least something unexplainable or strange. Listen to that again. What? We'll find out whenever we listen back if that was something unexplainable or paranormal, because that sounded creepy. It sounded like a man's voice. I thought Dave talked. Yeah, whenever you were down there setting up the equipment and getting that camera set up to record it, I actually heard what sounded like a man's voice through the lucid headphones, which was weird because we were just talking about how there's a male presence that's picked up on in this Emporium because one of the houses apparently belonged to a man who was quite violent in the past in his life, especially towards women. And it was very strange because I thought you were talking, but you weren't. If there's anyone here with us. My name is Ryan and this is Dave, and we've come a long way to be able to speak to you. We've heard a lot of things about Talem Town, about this land, about this place. We've heard there's an energy here that
people have picked up on, people have felt, people have experienced. We would love it if you would come out and speak to us, move something, set one of these boxes off the lights, light up the lights, or do something to let us know that you're here. We heard there was a man here who liked to hurt his wife and likes to hurt women.
Is that you?
No. If there's something that you would like to tell us or you would like to show us, or even if you would like us to leave, all you have to do is give us a sign, a definitive sign that we won't mistake for something else. For example, Alison said that she saw in front of her eyes one of the mannequins fly across the room and hit the door. Whether it be the man who used to live in this house or whether it be this shadowy figure that is seen moving throughout Talem town. Show us that you're here.
Can you use the energy from the rain to make a knocking sound somewhere in here?
Hello? Where is everyone? My name is Ryan. This is Dave. We've traveled so far to meet you. We're friends of Alison and Kag's. And they've told us a lot about you.
What was that?
What?
I thought I just heard that door move right there. What was that? What was that?
What?
I thought I just heard that door move right there. Wow. There are so many bats in here.
Yeah.
We've got some equipment on the bar down there on the countertop. There's a glowing light down there. Can you try and touch that and turn it on?
You scared the hell out of me.
Sorry, that bat was like right in my face.
God, the lucids work.
I'm gonna actually close the screen. I pulled out the viewfinder.
Okay.
Just to keep the bats at bay.
Whew.
Sorry.
That's okay. God, that was loud. It's weird that the ghost tube has been silent.
Yeah, the entire time.
Let's move back down to this room at the end, right down here with all the mannequins, because that was where it started to speak. Oop, careful of the REM pod there. Yeah, and this fence is right here. Okay. Hello? Did a bat just fly right by me?
Yeah, it almost landed on your head.
Wow. I felt the breeze. We may have to move to a new area here.
Yeah.
I'd love to experience the energy and activity of the Emporium, but it's a little hairy in here right now. Right now, being that it is so busy, it's a high traffic area right now, quite literally. We are sharing this building right now with about 7 to 10 bats that are flying around us, and that makes it very hard to investigate and to capture evidence when you're not quite sure if there is any contamination
Because if there's a sound, we can't prove that it's not a bat.
Right.
So if there's something that happens, if something moves, we can't prove that it's not a bat. So you want to pack this stuff up and move to an area maybe that is a little bit more free of contamination?
Yeah, let's gather everything up, see if we can find somewhere new to go, because unfortunately, like you said, there are just one too many bats in here. Okay, so we are getting ready to start the Estus session. I'm going to be out here, and Ryan's going to be in the bathroom there, in the bathtub, where Alison told us about a very, very peculiar story. So he's going to do a little bit of an Estus session while sitting in that bathtub. Just as soon as he is ready, we will get started.
All right. Okay. I'm rolling.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me, Ryan? All right. I'm going to be speaking to the spirits, if there are any here in the house. My name is Dave, and my friend Ryan is in the bathroom there in the tub, which sounds weird, but I'm going to be asking questions, and I'd like for you to answer me through the radio that Ryan has in there with him. So if you could you please tell me what your name is? If you're here, can you please come out and speak with us? We would love to hear from you. Would love to know a little bit about you and your story.
No or never sounded like a woman's voice.
Did something awful happen to you in that bathtub? Ma'am, if you're here, you can come out and talk to me, or Ryan. Neither one of us are here to cause you any trouble. We would simply just love to talk with you. Is the man who owned this house here?
Yes.
Okay. All right, sir. So if you are here, what is your name?
Yes.
Please tell me your name.
Or best.
Did you die in this house?
After.
You died after you lived in this house? Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Correct. Wow.
Yeah.
My friend and I have come all the way from the United States to be here and talk to you.
What?
Have you ever been to the United States? And since we have come such a long way, it would mean a lot to me if you would come out and speak. We were told that there's a shadow of a man that's in this hallway here from time to time. Is that you?
Who?
The shadow of a man has been seen in this hallway. Is that you? There's a glowing, flashing light on the floor in the hallway. Can you go up and try and touch it? If you can do that, it'll let me know that you're here. What about the woman, the girl who died in the tub? Are you still attached to that tub?
I couldn't make that out. There was like a full sentence there, but...
Could you repeat yourself to my friend? Can you try and turn on that flashing light in the hallway so I know?
I'm not hearing anything.
Remember, you can use the radio that my friend has in the bathroom in there to communicate.
Dave.
Yes?
I turned it off.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, Ryan just finished up with the Estus session. Not much was coming through. But what did come through could have been relevant to the questions that I was asking. Other than that, it's been quite quiet here at Talem Town tonight. We're hoping on this last session we can get something to happen. You ready, Ryan?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it, guys. Okay, so here we are in the church, and we're going to give this one final shot here tonight, guys. It's been kind of quiet, and but you have that on investigations, you know. It's not always 100% activity all the time. So you have on nights, you have off nights, but we're going to give this a shot and see what happens. You ready?
I'm ready. One of the
cat ball.
Whoa.
Box.
Box. Wait, listen.
I thought I just heard a child's voice.
Really?
Can you knock that ball off of that pew?
Whoa. Push it right off of there, please.
I said no.
Wow. I said yes, please.
Correction on what I thought was a child's voice. I think it's a bird outside.
Oh, okay.
This is an area where Alison had told us that people have been pushed, people have been shoved.
I just heard something back here.
I did too.
Can you see this blinking light on the table here? If you can you try and touch it so it'll let us know you're here? My name is Dave and this is Ryan. Can you tell us your name?
If this is the child, we brought these toys for you to play with. If you walk up to them and you touch them, lights will turn on and it'll make noise. I'm going to turn on this box here very shortly. You did say box through that, and I want you to talk to us through this.
Check this out over here. Got some music. If you walk through the door here, it'll play a song. Come on, we have so many different things.
Scott.
There are 850 words in GhostTube's dictionary that it can say, and out of those words, there are many names. And yet, this is the only name that came through GhostTube all night.
Come on, we have so many different things.
Scott.
And in this moment, we didn't know how relevant it was to Talem Town. Scott was the owner's grandson, who basically grew up helping his grandfather in the village. But sadly, 6 years ago, Scott tragically passed away. His memory lives on here at Talem Town, and with all those who knew him, and we send our deepest condolences to his entire family.
And I did ask what your name was earlier, so are you saying your name is Scott?
Scott, if that's your name, if you walk up to this thing, this... What was that? Sounded like that, something on that window. Could have been the bat, but... Scott, if your name is Scott, can you touch this? Oh, wrong one. Touch that side if your name is not Scott. If it is Scott, do that and it'll turn on. The one to my left is green and the one to my right is red. So if your name is Scott, or if your name is something else, you can answer by touching whatever lights.
I'm leaving.
You okay?
Yeah. It's a lot of wing flapping going on in here.
Yeah. Seems to be a common theme.
It does.
'Tis the time of year.
Yes, it is.
For the winged creatures.
Peter gave us permission to be in here, so we'd love if you would come out and talk to us.
I'm gonna turn this box on now, and I tell you what, I'm gonna sit down.
Disagree. How?
Disagree how? I'm gonna go ahead and sit down right here, and you can walk up and sit right next to me. And you can try and use this box right here in my hand to speak to us. My name's Ryan, this is Dave. What's your name? Is anyone here for a church service? Who is it that likes to push people in here and shove people?
Come on out and talk with us, please. Did you go to church here?
Well, we're gonna have to go here soon, and that means our night's gonna be winding to an end here. Heard so much about Talem Town over the years. Heard so much about you. I want to thank you for allowing me to come in here and actually getting a chance to sit in these pews with you, or to stand in these other buildings with you. I also hope you find peace. Well guys, we want to thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you made it this far, you are a true champion and a true part of the Paranormal Quest family. Hit that like button down below and make sure you share this video with your friends and family, because that helps us more than you know. It helps keep us on the road and it helps support this Paranormal Quest. Make sure if you're new here, you subscribe to the channel, because we'd love to bring you along for the ride on our Paranormal Quest to some of the most haunted places in the world. Until next time, we'll see you later on our Paranormal Quest.
Goodbye, y'all.
Bye.